Pew, pew, pew. Happy New Year. Welcome back. It is a brand new year, a brand new night. And as always, we are unedited, unfiltered, and we are going raw.
And I'm
My name
Eric,
is Joey.
and we're your hosts, and welcome to Raw Minds. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New
Yeah,
Happy New Year to you, my
2024.
friend. This is the man, this is the first episode out of
Yeah,
52.
fuck yeah. Here we go. So, what do you,
Yeah. And we're going to start it off like we always do,
big
man.
year
Like
for us,
just
buddy.
like we always say. Yeah. Big year for us and for you guys listening, it's going to be a big year for you. All but nothing but positive changes. It's, you know, don't look into the past and only look into the future. The what's happened has happened, and what you do with that going forward now
Need
is
to
up to you,
change.
right? So only
Yeah,
you can be that change,
exactly.
right? So I wish everybody listening nothing but love and abundance in this
Yeah.
year to come.
And many more years, buddy. Many more years to come. Hope everything goes well for all of you listening to us. We wish the best on all of you. And hopefully our insight on these topics help you navigate these hard times and give you some light on what you're going through.
Oh, 100%. That's why we're doing
Yeah,
what we're doing, right? We've talked about it many times before. It's this to be able to sit here with you and to talk to you guys out there and to come from where we've come from and really let you guys know
hmm,
that you're not alone and
yeah,
we've been there 10 times over to like I've mentioned before, I've almost taken my own life. It was that bad, and to find that light switch in that dark room and to be able to sit here tonight and every week with Eric here to reach out to you guys listening and let you know that we want to be and we
yeah.
are your source if you don't have anybody,
And what
right? And before
I'm just
we
saying,
sorry,
which
go
we
ahead.
have been for a lot of people reaching out, right? And we got lots more room for everybody else that wants to come aboard and just talk to us. We're okay with that, you know.
Now that we're talking about that, I just before we jump into something here into our hour here, I want to
Yeah,
read something real quick.
do it.
And we received this I believe yesterday morning, and I tell you
Yeah,
I got emotional, and it
fire
was
away.
so touching to have somebody reach out that the way they did. I'm not going to say any names, and I'm pretty sure he'll be listening. And first I want to say to this
Yeah,
person,
thank you,
thank
man.
you.
I just got goosebumps.
You thanked that, you thanked us, but
Yeah,
we want to thank you because I'll be honest, we talked about this last week with with the holidays and seasonal depression, and I think everyone was struggling with
yeah.
something over the holidays, and myself included. I had
Fuck
quite
me
a few
too,
rough
brother.
days, you know,
Yeah,
right? And reading this gave me goosebumps, and you thanking us for helping you when you don't realize how much you helped us.
yeah.
And I'm just gonna read it real quick because man, I've read this 50 times since yesterday morning, and I was
Well,
yeah, I
that's
got
why we do
emotional.
what we
I'm not
do,
gonna lie.
brother. You know what I mean? That's why we do what we do.
So I'm just gonna read this real quick, and I want to say to the person that wrote this, thank you. And it just says it's real quick. It just says I wanted to say thank you. I'm not okay. Anyone can see that. But man, your guys' voices are powerful. You two are going to change the world. I was desperately looking for a lifeline, and I scrolled past the ad for Raw Minds. But for whatever reason, my brain said, "Hey, go back." And I'm glad I did. Pretty sure I wouldn't be here if I
Wow.
hadn't.
You know? Powerful, bro. Powerful. That just gave me fucking goosebumps again. Just it that fuck, I'm speechless, that's what we do. That's what we're doing this for, is to help people. And that's just proof right there, man. That's just proof, and we're happy that, that he reached out, and, we gave him some great advice, and was there for him, and helped him. That's fuck. I'm just crazy.
And that's all we can do, right? Like we've said many times, we don't have a PhD. We're not
No.
psychiatrists, but we've lived that life and operated in chaos for
Yeah.
years, right? And to read that from somebody that reached out to us, and like Eric said, all we can do is give pointers and give the advice from our own
Mhm.
experiences on from when we were there, and how did we find those steps to
Yeah.
find that light switch again. So I want to say one more time to the person that wrote that, you have no idea the impact not only do you think that we have on you, but what that
100%.
did for us.
On that note, brother, I just wanna put out the email address for everybody out there. It's, rawmindspodcast@gmail.com. And just like others, like, feel free to reach out to us. No matter what the issue is, you can be male or female. No, mostly we're about males. It's males' mental health, but I mean, we don't discriminate. We'll take on any email, and we will respond 100%. And we will be there for you. And that's 100% a guarantee. So, yeah,
Of course, mental
yes,
health is mental
exactly.
health, right? And male or female,
No,
we don't
we
shut
open
doors.
them.
We
Yeah,
exactly, we try to open
yeah,
them as best that we can for the people that don't know
yeah.
how to find that door handle.
And you know what? We're both struggling, bro. We're still
So,
learning things. You know what I mean? We're no fucking heroes over here, doing it, or know what we're doing. Well, we've been through the shit. We have an idea of, like, the tools and stuff, and the mindset. But I mean, we still struggle every day, and do our, have our battles. Like last episode, man, I was just, I had a hard time. It was Christmas, and it was a really hard time for me. Spending it pretty much by myself, besides, like, with my kid. Luckily, I had her around, but it was hard, you know? But here we are. We're still pushing forward. We're still
yeah,
doing our thing, and making shit happen.
well, we have to, and
Yep,
everyone has to. You can't just you can't give up as hard as it is, and we all have shitty days. And like Eric just said, we
yep,
we still struggling. We might have found that light switch out of a lot of the traumas and chaos that we've had to deal with, but the
yep,
light dims sometimes, and that's a part of life, and it's
yeah,
gonna go on and off. Some
yep,
days it's gonna be off. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how successful you are, how happy your home is
yep.
it's life.
Ain't that the truth?
And all you can do is try to find the best tools to get through those
Yeah,
dark days and not stay in that dark room like we did for way
yeah,
longer than we should have, and way longer than what you
yeah.
guys are sitting in
Learn
right
from
now. And that's
Well,
why we're
learn from
sitting
our
here.
our mistakes and our process, you know? That's what it's about. Learn, and we're trying to guide people, and you know what, man? We said it, that if we could just reach one person, our job's done. And look at us, we're reaching people, man, not just one, but multiple people. and we're gonna keep on doing that. Hate us or love us, we're here to stay, and this is what's happening, man.
Yeah, and you know what? If you get hate, like, is everyone's gonna have haters. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter what you do, right? So if you want to do something that makes you happy, someone's gonna hate on it, and if you do something that you didn't want to do, someone's gonna hate on it. So just
yeah,
do what you want to do, right? You're
nope,
not gonna please the world. It doesn't work like that. But a lot of people are just they're people pleasing all the time because they don't want anybody to hate them. They don't want anybody to comment on them or put them down. And I get it.
yep,
Nobody wants to hear that shit. But
it's true.
you know, you just you're gonna get hated on or talked about regardless of what you do
Well,
by
don't they
somebody.
say if you got haters, then
You
that's
know,
that you're doing something right? Yeah,
you're halfway there
yeah,
because you're doing something right,
exactly.
right? So,
Well, what do you think of this episode,
but
buddy? I think this is an important one, definitely.
yeah, and it's definitely one we haven't. I think we touched a little bit just because of some of the on a couple of the episodes prior, and but we didn't really get into you know the effects of what your children have to deal with when you are in or when you're basically in co-parenting with
Mhm.
toxicity, and parents and people using their kids as pawns and or around the wrong people all the time in the atmosphere that people are
Or
putting
even
these
the
children
drugs and
in.
alcohol, if you're doing that around your kids too, that affects them big time too, right? So you gotta like, I mean, kids, man, the monkey see, monkey do. Those motherfuckers will watch everything that you do, and then they'll pick that shit up. That's the reason why I started smoking.
100%.
Because my parents started smoking, and then hey, they're smoking. I think it's cool, and that's when I started smoking. Actually, today's the first day I'm quitting, so hooray for that. We'll see how that goes, but
well well people don't realize too is like where does most of our adult problems
parents,
stem from?
yeah,
Your childhood, the parenting, the people around you, the family around you, the friends
yeah,
your parents had around you. It all stems from your
it's
childhood.
true.
And people don't seem to realize that, especially when it comes to co-parenting after a breakup. And that is life, and couples don't always work, and that will never change, and divorces and this and that. But you know, you guys need to realize that when you are in that situation of now having to co-parent, regardless of what this person did to you and that person did to you, that has nothing to do with the children.
Yeah.
Zero. Even because I think I've said this once before, like I've known shitty husbands and wives,
Mhm.
but amazing parents. But so many people just want to hold grudges, and their way of getting at them is only through the children, and like you have no idea the effects that you
Oh, yeah.
cause your children
I'm a product of
when
it,
you do
brother.
that.
You know what I mean? I'm straight up product of it. And touching on all that, I think it's very important too that we should say that, say two people are in a relationship and they don't get along. Nah, they just at this point they hate each other, but they're staying together for the children. I think that's a huge mistake. My point of view, I think that's a huge mistake because it's just toxicity right there, and you're gonna keep on fighting, and those kids are gonna see that, and I think that's it's a bad. And I know lots of people that stay together just because of the kids, but at the end of the day, your mental health comes first. How the hell are you gonna take care of the kids if you don't have your own mental health? So I just want to point that out there that if you're staying with your partner because it's for the kids, I mean, I think you're just doing more damage than anything. Yeah, you wanna see them every day, I understand that. I mean, I don't get my kids, I see my daughter on the weekends, and it kills me, don't get me wrong, but I mean, every weekend, it's amazing, I get to see her, and it's like seeing her for the first time every weekend, you know? And it's hard, don't get me wrong, it fucking sucks. I don't get that coming home from work and she's running up and giving me a big hug and kiss every time I come home, but, I lose that, but I gain other things. And I think it's very, very bad to stay with someone when you're not in love, it's just toxic, you're fighting all the time, but you're staying there with the children. What do you think? What's your take on that?
No, I completely agree with you. I understand where some of these people come from because in their mind, they think it's going to
Mhm.
hurt the children more if daddy leaves
Yeah.
or mom leaves. But they feel your energy. They see it. They hear it. And when you put yourself in your own the
Mhm.
environment like that, in your own mental state, knowing that every day you're not happy, you're constantly bickering, you're constantly fighting, you don't love them anymore, but you're just hanging on by a thread in your day-to-day mental state. Man, you're not
Mhm.
thinking about your kids because like you just said, if you are so in the clouds and you're not realizing how damaging this is, how much damage this is causing yourself, it's rubbing off on your kids
100%,
and you don't
man.
even know it.
100%.
100%, you don't
And like I
even
said,
know it.
they see everything, you know what I mean? And you're fighting every day with your partner, that you don't want your children to grow up, in that fight or flight mode, you know? It's I used to watch it. I watched it all the time when I was a kid. My dad was a drunk. He would come home drunk and just fight, just belligerent, you know? Like I said before, he came home mad because he was cheating on my mom with a 22-year-old going to BCIT living in her house, and I watched him fucking chase my mom around the house trying to beat her up. Kids shouldn't fucking see that shit, and out of all my memories I'm almost 40, I'll be 40 in April. In all my fucking memories, that's the most vivid memory I have as a child, you know? Not the other memories of the good times. I don't even remember those shit, half of them. That's what I remember. So, I mean, it's toxic, man. It's bad. Bad jujus, definitely.
Yeah, people need to realize, man, like you can't be using
No.
children in your games and
Mhm.
using them as pawns. Like I know mothers who don't let the child see their father just because he hasn't paid
Mhm.
child support in 3 months. Like even in the courts, you're not allowed to actually deny the parent to see the child if you
Yeah,
don't
it's
pay the
true.
money. But that's their way of playing these fucking games. But you're
Yeah,
playing
it's a
games with
pawn.
your children,
Yeah.
and
It's
that's the
fucking
worst
sad.
part.
Yeah.
It is truly sad,
It's a pawn. They're using it as a pawn. It's
and
like a fucking piece of fucking plastic on a fucking board. That's what you're considering your child as, using them as a bragging chip, which it's fucking horrible. Well, Joey, you know the shit that I deal with my kid's mom, where she uses that shit all the time. I didn't see my daughter for a month. Not saying I do pay child support. Don't get me wrong on that, but she just goes off a rocker, and it's like it's horrible, man. And at the end of the day, who suffers? The kid. Because your child wants to see the other half, but yet yeah, the other half is holding the child away from you. Yeah.
basically
So
hostage.
how it's not your fault.
But I get yeah, using the kid as
I
a
mean, her
hostage
fault. Yeah,
against the other
exactly.
parent.
It's fucking disgusting is what it is.
Like I said, Like I said earlier, your own personal issues, whatever how bad your relationship was or not, has zero to do with that child
Exactly.
or children. Nothing.
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing. And then you got parents that are talking, I have 2 kids with 2 mothers, and the amount of chaos and bullshit I've had to go through fighting for my kids, this and this and this, I could hate both of them for the rest of my life, but I choose not to because it is
Yeah.
only going to affect my children. And another thing is I never ever talk bad about their mothers
100%.
in front of them. That is nothing that your child should ever listen to of you bashing their
Definitely.
father or
Definitely.
mother ever.
Definitely.
As they get older, regardless, I've said this before in one of our other episodes on addiction. My son's mom is now homeless on the street, a drug addict, you know, and I don't talk about that with my son. He knows his mom's not around, and I've been there the best that I possibly can with the situation in hand. But it's up for that child when they become an adult to make their own
Can I just
decisions
stop you
about
there,
their
bro?
parents.
I just wanna say you're
Not for
fucking killing it, bro. You're fucking killing it with you need to hear this. You need to be able to know this, and the whole world's gonna know this. You're a fucking amazing dad. You stepped up, and you're fucking killing it, and I'm proud of you, man. And just, like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. I am so proud of you. If you guys knew the shit that this guy's put up with, man, you would it's crazy, and what he's been through. I'm fucking proud of this guy, man. This he You're a true hero to these kids, man, and I'm proud of you. I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
That
buddy.
that means a
You're
lot.
welcome.
It
You
really does.
deserve it. You do.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I can say the same for you, my friend. You have a daughter who I adore. My daughter is
Mhm.
friends with Eric's daughter. And it's really nice to see another man be a father like Eric. And I will say is there's a lot of people that always tell me that I'm such a good dad, but I'm almost bothered by that. And I'll tell
Mhm.
you why is because they're talking like it's not normal. And that is truly sad and heartbreaking that there are more deadbeat parents, not just fathers, than there
Mhm.
are good parents. And to me, all I'm doing is loving my kids the best that I can, being there for them, like any parent should. It doesn't matter if you had a fucking one night stand and you had a child. Step up to the plate and be a fucking parent
Yep.
and be there for your kids because it makes me sick. And when I hear about deadbeat fathers and deadbeat mothers, and you're fucking lowest of the low
Yep.
to me.
I mean, you got these innocent children, man. They can't do anything. You're their protector, you're their keeper. You're their hero, you know? You're supposed to take care of them, not just fuck off and do your own thing. When I had my daughter, I was selfless, and so were you, man. Sacrifices, it changed my whole life. I was involved in some heavy, deep fucking shit. And as soon as I knew I was having a kid, man, I walked away from everything. And that was it. That was my life. I'm a dad now. Someone just posted on my Facebook. I'm not going to say who, but it's a picture of me. And it's, God, one of them's I'm probably like 13 years old in one of them and maybe 16 in the other. Not even 16, probably maybe 8 years in one and 14 in the other. And they said, "Oh yeah, this is Eric before he was hung out with the Asian gangsters." And I said, "Well, this is me now as a dad and just a dad, because that's all I want to be is a fucking father to my kids, and provide for them. And that's what we all need to do. And if you walked out of your kid's life, fucking walk right back in that shit, man, because they miss you. I understand some people, their other halves pull them away and it's hard and they're trying to fight for them. I understand that, you know? But if you made the conscious decision to walk away and you rather party and do all these things, smarten the fuck up and get your shit together, man, because those kids need you. It's just fucking life, normal shit. You made that kid. That's your fucking responsibility. If you didn't want a kid, should have wore a fucking rubber. Simple as that, man. It's just sad. It's fucking sad.
Well, and you got to think of the damage that causes the child when right off the
Yeah,
bat the other parent's not around. You know what I mean? Growing up without a dad
yeah.
because you're a piece of shit, or or in my son's case, a mother who decides to be an idiot and make extremely
Mhm.
poor life choices and pick that life over her children. Like, what the
I
fuck
don't
is wrong with
understand it,
you?
man.
And who do you think's hurting the most? Not me,
Yeah.
my son, because I see it
Mhm.
every fucking day. And he's gonna grow up and he's gonna have issues. And then one day that I hope that he figures those issues out, whatever those are, he's gonna look back and that's exactly where it stems from is your childhood, just like most of us.
But he's gonna thank you, man. He's gonna thank you, you know? At least have one parent in the life of the child. One normal parent in the life, and the kid has a chance. And that's the statistics. If you have one good parent, they will have a chance. I'm a product of it too. My dad was a piece of shit. I told him to go fuck himself on my birthday 4 years ago, but I had my mom. My mom was my dad and she was my mom. I mean, I was a wild child, don't get me wrong, but she was always there and she supported me. And look at me now. I'm here doing this, trying to change the world. One every Monday we record this, drop it Friday, and we're trying to change it every Friday. You know, all you need is one good parent. And to all the single parents out there, I'm proud of all of you guys. Keep up the hard work. It's gonna pay off. It really will. I promise you. Whew. Well,
That's a little bit of
yeah,
an
no,
emotional
it
subject,
is,
man.
bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
It really is.
Just kind of playing back all the things that I've had to deal with, and you guys listening, and some of the emails that we've read and what you guys are going through, man. It's just like
Mhm.
reliving it almost, and and that's like with breakups and divorces
Mhm.
with the good men who lose their children in the custody when it wasn't them that ended it. It wasn't them that had the affair or whatever the case may be and the cause of that breakup or divorce. But this is where men really fall into that
Yeah,
dark room bad, or why the suicide
yeah.
rate is 4 times higher
It's true.
is because of this. Because the good ones out there just want to be a part of your kids' lives, and a lot of these women and are withholding, like we were saying, withholding, using as pawns, not dropping them off when they're supposed to, playing games. Like, you are fucking your
Mhm.
kids up. You have no idea how
Well,
bad.
that's what happened to me.
And I feel for these guys. And I feel for these guys, man. Like, you guys, I feel for you. And I've been there. I had to go to court for both of my kids when they were young. I fought
Mhm.
every day for my children. False accusations, fuck this, that, you name it. But I stuck it in because I just
The
wanted to
end
be there
game.
for my kids. My son's 13 and a half. I've never missed a child support in my life. But I fought for my rights. I fought and it wasn't easy. And I get it. and you guys going through that right now, it fucking sucks. But I will say this: if you are a good dad and you genuinely love your children, it will work
Yeah,
out for you in the end. And if it goes down the court process, because most people try to stay away from that.
yeah,
Nobody
it's
wants to
ugly.
go to court. But there's so many people that cannot get along and cannot be civil. Like I said, whatever you guys have done to each other has nothing to do with those children. So fucking
Yeah.
drop it. Knock it off.
Well, another way you could do is mediation,
But but
right?
well, and that's that's the
Yeah,
start of the court process, right? They'll tell you because courts don't want ever to be the ones to decide who gets who
yeah,
in custody. It's your children. You're supposed
yeah.
to figure that out for yourselves. They will, but they don't want to. Every lawyer will tell you that
Yeah.
we don't want to do this.
You're the adults.
But in the court, I will say one thing. If it goes through the court process like I've had to do twice, in the end, because you are a good father, you're loving, you're trying, you're working hard, and you have an ex that is using as a pawn, spiteful, always trying to argue this and this and this. If it goes to the end and that judge gives you your days and gives you your weekends or a 50-50, whatever it is that you get, and drops that hammer, that will shut them up and they can't
Mhm.
do a fucking thing about it. So even in that struggle that I went through, at the end of it, when I eventually got what I wanted and got to see my kids every week, she shut up
Yep.
because she can't argue that.
It's the law.
Because if she denied it, and if she denied it on a court order, I can call the police. The police would go pick up my child. And no, you don't want the police to pick up your children,
Mhm.
but the law, if put in place, will make a lot of more positive changes for you where they can't argue that that's too bad. And eventually they get exhausted and they just stop arguing and they
Well,
stop fighting like that because they know they can't
it's
do
changed
nothing
around too,
about
though,
it.
for men too. It was hard for us, it really was. But hey, I spent $64,000 on lawyer fees, man. $64,000. That money coulda went to my child, you know? But it went through the courts, and it cost me $64,000 to get 50-50. Fucking ridiculous, Instead of me and her sitting down and talking about it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, as you
Well, she
should,
ran away with my daughter for 3 months, bro.
like
We got in a fight. She attacked me when my kid was in my arms, and I didn't know anything about this shit. So she attacked me, blah blah blah. We had someone in the middle transferring my daughter back and forth, just because there was no paperwork saying that it's 50-50 or schedules back and forth, that she was allowed to take my daughter. And she could take her as long as she wants because there's no fucking paperwork. And she ran away for 3 months, and I couldn't find my kid. And like we said before, this is what turned me into trying to take my life. And when I woke up out of a coma 2 days later, moved to Powell River, like I said before, changed my life. My buddy helped me. He came down from Vancouver, said, "Okay, I'm gonna help you fight for your daughter back." And that's what I did. I went and got a lawyer, and my buddy served her papers. After the court, then, just then, she can't run away with my kid. So it's like you were talking about before, man, using pawns and doing all these things. It fucking mentally fucked my head up, man. I couldn't leave the room. I was fucked. It was devastating. But I'm glad that I went through all this because it made me who I am today, made me stronger and want to fight even more for my daughter. And I have her in my life now. And to be honest with you, I don't care if it would cost me $4 million. That's my kid, and she's in my life, and that's all that matters. I'd lose everything for her just to have her in my life.
It made me think of, a story. Um, when you said that, you didn't have your kid for 3 months and where you were
Mhm.
at in your head. And, you know, before my two children I have now, this is going back, almost 20 years. I dated a girl for almost 2 years, and, loved her. Things were great. She ended up having a son. I had a son. We had a son. And this kid was my whole world. And anything and everything at that time, it was just me and him. Going to grandma's house and just day to day father son stuff. And, 2 years old and teach him how to ride a little bike, all that kind of stuff, right? And uh, he was my whole world. And 2 years after, he's about 2 years old. I was working in group homes. I used to work with youth, high risk teenagers years ago. And a part of that is you got to sleep in the house with it's 24-hour care, right? So I'm doing 24-hour shifts technically. So I had to stay there for 1 week. Not a big deal, 1 week, and it was only like 40 minutes from the house. In that week, she cheated on me. And obviously, it's a terrible thing to happen in its own. You're messed up, you're hurt, you're angry, blah blah blah. And in one of our arguments, obviously because I'm mad and upset, she decides to tell me, by the way, that's not your son.
That's fucked.
And to add to the cheating, now I'm going crazy and
You're
I'm
raising
losing
this
my
kid,
mind,
man.
and
Yeah.
this was my boy for 2 years. I
Talk
love
about
this
mental
kid to
mind
death.
fuck.
And a month later was my birthday. For a birthday present, my mom got me a DNA test, and she picked it up for me from the clinic, wherever it was back then. Had it in an envelope. I came over to my mom's, and I remember the day clearly. And the envelope was sitting on the table on my birthday. She paid like $700 for it for me, and I sat there in the chair and I opened it up, and he wasn't
I'm
my
sorry,
kid.
buddy.
And not only was I devastated, but he knew me as dad.
Hmm.
That's all he knew. And the day I got that piece of paper, I called her and I'm like, "You motherfucker." And I was like, "Regardless, I don't care what this piece of paper says. He is my son. And I still wanted to be there for him as my son. I didn't care about the paper. He called me dad. And I said, I will take him on weekends. I don't care." And the guy she cheated on me with, she obviously wanted to be with this guy now. The day I got that piece of paper, I never seen him again. I tried to see them, and because he was not my son now, I couldn't do anything about it. That day, overnight, I lost
That's
my
crazy.
son. And I tried for
Yeah.
months just to be there. I didn't care now that she was with this idiot. I just wanted to still be there, and she wouldn't allow it. And I lost my
I'm
son
sorry that
overnight.
happened, buddy.
And the
That's
kicker, and 3 years later, I was with my cousin and her kids at the water park. 3 years later, and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I get a tug on the back of my shirt. I turn around, it's him. And he goes, "I know you." And I've never been speechless talking to someone in my life. I could not move and I could not say a word. And he looked at me and he goes, "I know you. You're Daddy Joe." And I look up and his mother's walking away in the parking lot. And just looked at me with that smile and then walked away, and
Yeah.
that was it. That guy, and there's another reason why I'm telling this story. Not only did I lose a son, but the guy that she cheated on me with, when I dated her, she barely drank, didn't do drugs. This guy did drugs. She ended up having another kid with him, a daughter. That day that I seen him, I think about a month later was Valentine's Day. She overdosed in her living room in front of
Holy
her kids and
fuck.
died.
Fuck, so sad. Fuck.
Now, as much hate as I had for that person for what she did to me, I had even more hate of what you
Mhm.
just did to those children. Not only, and the reason I tell the story to kind of go what we're talking about,
Mhm.
what you do to kids and what effects you
Definitely.
have on children, is not only did I lose a son and I was getting in bar fights, drinking and driving, crashing my car, didn't go to work, you name it, fucked up, royally fucked up. But what did
Oh
that
my
do to
god.
that little boy? He had a dad, and overnight, it was like I died. His dad's gone. And now, a couple years later, his mom's dead. His
And
mom's
who's gonna
gone
take care of him? That guy?
because
Like,
of your
fuck,
fuck.
like, that guy's not good, like, that guy's sounds like a piece of shit, sorry to say.
Well, he got her on the
Yeah,
drugs, so
so
yeah, he's a
now
fucking
this
loser.
kid's got that guy to be a role model too? You know what I mean? It's fucking sad, man. Fuck
So
me.
it was obviously one of the
It's
hardest,
fucked.
moments of my life. But to lose your son to child overnight, literally overnight, never seen him again. But what did that do to that little boy? What are these women or occasional men doing to
Mhm.
these children
Yeah.
when you do this? When you have good men, not just me, and like we just said about the suicide and going through divorces, good fucking men that just want to be there for the child. I had a piece of paper saying that wasn't my son, and I still
Mhm.
wanted to be his dad.
Yeah.
And good fucking men who go to work every day, who bust their ass every day, who try to be the best provider and are fucking screaming in whispers because they are struggling and they don't know how to talk about it, but they're trying. And they just want to be a part of those kids' lives and be a good husband and be a good boyfriend.
It's fucked, man. It's so fucked, bro. It
And people are using these children as fucking pawns. And if you're one of those people, I tell you, you're a fucking piece of shit. Straight up. And normally I don't go off swearing like this on the show,
I'll say it
but
for
you
you.
guys are
Fuck
scum.
you guys if you guys are gonna do that. You know? It's a fucking kid. It's a fucking kid.
That so if you are listening and you are have struggling with co-parenting with children, this goes back to what I've said before for you men especially, because in some of the emails that we got and some of the stories that we were told on the phone, and the exes are saying, you're a piece of shit. I wish you would die, and all these stupid fuck, all this shit to these men when they're just trying to be dads. You know, is guys. I know this is probably the hardest thing to hear, and I've said this a few times in the shows before. Is kill your ego, and the reason I say that in this situation is your life is so much easier when you don't let people like that with their comments, and I'm talking with the comments and the digs and the fighting, is let them tire
Mhm.
themselves out, hang up the phone, don't engage, don't. And not only because if it ever goes down that road to court like I had to go, man, you just
Mhm.
look so much better. Document everything, but don't engage. I know it's hard because they're triggering you and they know how to get at you and they're saying this and they're not taking your kid because of this and this. They're unless you if it is in that if you guys are at that point where it's that bad as you cannot co-parent, you have to file those papers and fight. And it is a battle you don't want to fight,
Yep.
but you have to because it will pay off in the end, I promise you. And it is not an easy battle, but the more you sit back and just allow it to happen, well, she didn't do this and she held him again, and now she's with her boyfriend, and you just, man, it's nothing will change unless you make the
Well,
changes
and,
because
sorry, go ahead, buddy.
otherwise, no, otherwise, just like anything, right? If you people keep acting out and then nothing happens, they're just going to keep acting out because they can get
Mhm,
away with it. It's the same thing. It's the same with your parenting your child. If your child keeps throwing things around and acting out in public and you just yell at them and don't do nothing about it, well, why do you think they keep doing it? Because you're not stopping it in its tracks right there. So it's the same principle, right? So you have to take action even when
well, I
you don't
find that
want to.
the biggest thing is you gotta set boundaries, you know? That's a big thing is you gotta learn to set the boundaries and don't let those people cross them, because if you're gonna let them cross them, 'em, they're just gonna keep on crossing them.
Well, 100%, and that comes just like we've talked about this a lot before too. Is that's that shows where your level of self confidence is as
Mhm,
well and self esteem because you're broken. You don't and for me, I look back and a lot of these times fighting for my kids at one point is I was so broken from life plus this that it was so hard to
mhm,
take on more knowing that it's just
yep,
gonna break you even more. And that's why we sit back and why you guys have the low self-esteem and the low self-confidence is because you're
mhm,
struggling already. And when you're in that headspace, you don't want to add more to
mm-mm,
that
no,
headspace. Nobody does. So you just let things
yep,
go right over you. And it's just slowly breaking you piece by piece,
yep,
day by day. And you just keep burying it and burying it and burying it, just like I did. And then the one day you explode, and man, that was it.
mhm,
It was almost it for me because I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to reach out, and I had no boundaries because my self confidence and self esteem was so low that I just let toxic and bad behavior happen because it was easier than trying to fight back and deal with it.
well, it's like misery loves company, right? So then you're just bringing this toxic stuff, you're just letting it happen, and then more toxic shit's just gonna keep on flowing in because you just got those floodgates open. You're pretty much got a big fucking flashing sign saying, "Hey, come on in." I got no boundaries, but you gotta have boundaries. And, to touch on, like, what happened to you, I have a buddy of mine, and something similar happened to him. Um, I think his kid was 4 years old? 4 or 5 years old, I believe. And for the longest time, he thought it was his kid the whole time. And then I don't know how it came up. I think they were fighting, and then she said, "He's not your kid." And he's like, "What?" And it ended up, same thing, doing a DNA test, and he still wanted to be in the kid's life, and she held him away, and she wouldn't let him. So she took him away, and it was about a half a year later, all of a sudden he gets a letter in the mail saying that she's coming after him for child support. So not only did she cheat on him, dragged him along with this child for about 4 years, making him think that it's his. He still to this day, he would like you, still be there for him if he could. and then disappears, and then months later tries to come after him for child support while she's with the other guy. So she's with the kid's dad, the real dad, yet she's coming after my buddy for child support. How fucked is that? Not only did you fuck my buddy's head up, but now you're trying to go after him and his bank account, even when he was trying to be there for her.
And
The
who's
kid,
in the middle of all
the kid,
that
and
child?
since he was like 4 or 5 years old, like the kid's conscious enough to know that that's his dad, and then all of a sudden, like you, same situation, takes it away. Now who's this new guy that never met for 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden he's in my life? I'm gonna call him dad now? Like, how confusing is that for a fucking child, man?
And the
No,
child doesn't know any better either, and that's where
100%.
abandonment issues come from. Because in a child's mind, daddy
Yeah.
left me. Why did
And
daddy
then they're
leave me?
gonna blame, like, I when my dad
That,
left, I remember clearly I was saying, "It's my fault, it's my fault." I thought it was my fault for all the bad things that I did when I was a kid, and I was blaming me for my dad leaving my mom, you know? It fucks with the kids' minds, man. They're so pure, Don't fuck with that pureness. This world's already gonna fuck with the pureness. You're supposed to be the one to protect them and shield them from all that bullshit, not fucking add to it. And on top of that, man, I wanna put out there fuck. Here we go. People who fucking sexually abuse kids, man. If you oh, fuck. Fuck the lowest of the fucking lows, man. I've met so many men and women that have been affected, and for what? You know? Because like it's fucking hard one, man, but I know and it fucks with their heads. Like fucking smarten up, man. You know? People like that need to be fucking put in a gas chamber. Like that shit's I can't take that shit, man. I fucking can't take it. It's a fucking child. It's a fucking child. If you wanna get off, go fucking watch porn, you know? It's like all these things affect children. And then who has to pick up the pieces? The person, the kid. The child has to pick them up when they're older. I was with I was with a woman actually a year and a half before I met you, and we were together. Actually, I was with her for about almost 2 years. And we're sitting down smoking a joint, and all of a sudden she says she was sexually abused by her brother. Fucked, man, you know? And it psychologically really fucked her head up. I could see it. And those things, like, she never dealt with it. She would just push it down, push it down, push it down. I told her, "You need to go talk to someone about this shit." She's like, "No, I figured it out." But no. And it I could see the pain in her eyes, man. I could see the pain. As a fucking child, I think she was, like, 7 years old. It's I don't know, it's fucked. Let's just say it's fucked, man. So, I'm gonna say, if any of you guys out there, even this crosses your fucking mind, if I find out, man, I don't know. I'll find you. I mean, this shit's not cool. These are fucking kids, you know? I Oh, fuck. It's such turmoil, disgusting. and should not happen to these children. No,
Never. But that goes for
children, man.
anything. They're children.
Yeah.
Let them be
Let them play with
kids.
Barbies and fucking GI Joes or whatever the hell the toys are in nowadays, man. Let them be fucking kids. Fuck.
It's truly heartbreaking, man. It really is. It really the even the generational
Yeah,
effects that this has, because you can actually pass down generational
definitely.
trauma to your children. I actually just read
100% you
this like a
can.
month ago. And kind of goes back to what we were talking about of the parents living together
Yeah,
for the kids. It's if you are not the best version of yourself and the best that you can be, how can you be the best parent you can be? How can you be the best
yeah,
husband
exactly.
and boyfriend? And I get it why that parents stay together. I know their train of thought on the reasoning, because they don't want the kids to see them divorce and split up. I understand the reason, but the truth is you come first. And I know it's when you have kids, it's always my kids comes first, my kids, but you know you do. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but because if you're not well,
Yeah,
your kids will not be well. If you are hurting and you are depressed and you are contemplating your life every day because you are not trying to fix the core issues or fix the toxic surroundings in your life, man, you're passing that on right to
yeah.
your children. They feel that energy, they see it. Your kids will not be happy, because if you have to remove yourself from a marriage or a relationship like that or a household like that, and yet it sucks, just like Eric said earlier. I don't get to see my kids every day either, even from day one. But you're not abandoning your children
Hmm.
by doing that. They might they you are separating yourself so you can
Exactly.
get better. And it might not be easy for the first little while. And
Not at
it
all.
won't be easy for the
No.
first little while. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But it'll be so much
Yeah.
better on the end.
We're
I
living
promise you
proof.
that. You're not abandoning your children. If you're there every week and you're trying, you're not abandoning any child.
And
You're just
leveling up.
fixing you. And it's okay. And if you're in that state of mind, you have to be selfish, and not in a bad way. You have to put yourself first so you can be
Yeah.
the best for them, because just like Eric said, it's you don't understand the more damage that is causing those children by staying in that than separating yourself for a short period of time so you can fix that.
Well, I have an analogy on that. I've said it before about the airplane and the oxygen coming down. When you're on an airplane and they're doing their whole speech and show you the oxygen and all that shit, and where the exits are here, here, there, here, there. Um, and then they tell you if the has emergency, the oxygen's come down. They tell you put it on yourself first before you put it on your kids, because you got to take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, who's gonna take care of the kid? If you put it on that kid, who knows if that kid's gonna put it on you? You have to take care. You're the adult. You got to be in charge of that, and you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of them. And we're not saying like selfish is in a bad way, like Joey. And I mean, your kids are number one at the end of the day. They are number one, but the only way they can be number one is if you put yourself number one at first. It's confusing, but that's the way it works. You're if you're depressed and you're down, in your house, and you're having a shitty day for a couple days and you're just fucking, you know, not doing good. You're not gonna feed the kids, man, because you're down. You gotta take care of yourself so you can go and feed your kids and get up and do those things or take them out and do the things that you need to do. And that's the reason why you gotta take care of yourself first.
Like I remember looking back when I was running on autopilot, through my therapy and looking back at certain times, like I would look down and forget that I had to make lunch. It's 3, 4 hours later, and I didn't even make the kids lunch, and not on purpose because I
Yeah,
was messed up. I
yeah.
wasn't. I wasn't there. I remember sitting on the couch watching movies on a Saturday when I'm supposed to be taking my kids out every Saturday, like I always do, and I don't
Mhm.
move, and I just felt shittier because I had no energy
Yep.
because I was messed
I've
up.
been there, man.
I was struggling, and I couldn't even get up to put on a pair of shoes to take them to the movies. And now they're bored. They're sitting around, and I'm not talking. I'm sad, and they're just sitting there and like, well, what are
Or
we
they're
gonna do,
getting
Dad?
into mischief.
And I just or they start or your
Yeah.
kids will start acting out because you're not
Mhm.
paying attention to them, and you're running on that autopilot like I did for 15 years, and you start missing so much in their lives, in noticing things in their behaviors because you your mind is so cloudy. So you have to come first. Whatever it is that you're dealing with in your life, do not let that affect your children
Mhm.
the best that you can. And if you are struggling, get the help. And like you said with your ex with about being abused, and then she
Mhm.
didn't deal with it. And I understand and I get it because a lot of with situations like that, because I was one of those children, as you know.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, I was abused. But as you get older, and instead of dealing with it because you feel embarrassed, right? Even
Yeah.
especially as a man. Like I don't want to tell someone that someone touched me. It's embarrassing. And I'm a man. I could deal with it. Like fuck it. It's fine. I don't need to talk to no. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking do. Because like I said, with me, I buried that shit a lot. Like you heard one of my stories tonight, man. That was one of 1,000 in the 20 years of chaos
Yeah.
that I lived in. But I buried it all. And like I said before, my relationships failed after fail. Now I'm not saying I did everything, but that's who I was attracting as well. Was
Yeah.
damaged women because I was damaged, but I didn't realize how damaged I was.
Well, that's why I say misery loves company, and it's true.
And until you start fixing that, that's when you attract better people. We've said
Mhm.
this many times before. You attract better relationships,
Yep.
better people. More money maybe, and all these more positive things start happening to you. But the main thing, especially when you have children and when you start changing, because I've, especially me and my journey of healing in the last year and a half, especially, is man, when I got my kids, man, I'm playing Scrabble, I'm freaking Nerf gun fights, I'm happy with them when I'm not laying on the couch sad. I'm not missing making like time flying by because I'm basically crying in my head, supposed to make them lunch and
Mhm.
I'm not even there. But when you start talking and fixing and trying to better yourself in the situations that you're in and removing yourself from these toxic environments, don't engage with your ex if she's acting out, whatever the case may be, you got to try to stay as calm as you can because it is more hurting your children than it is you. You might be a little hurt and angry, but your child
Mhm.
is struggling and you don't even know it.
Or they will be later down the life.
So once you because if you guys are listening right now and you are in that position now where you are struggling to find that light switch like we always talk about and you're not that you're there for your kids, but you're not there because you're so cloudy in your mind. You need to do everything you can to find that blue sky in that cloud. And like we always say, you need to talk about it. You need to find that source. And that's what we are here for, to hopefully try to be that source for you. And if not, that's okay. But whatever it is, especially as a man, it takes more strength to ask for help and makes you stronger, not
100.
weaker. Because once you reach out and you start fixing these little things and digging into that core to better yourself and to actually learn to really love yourself, the love that you share and give when you get to that point is uh, is an amazing feeling. And like we said at the beginning of the show with Eric, like, man, we're struggling still. Day to day life, it's we're gonna have ups and downs for the rest of our lives. Everybody will. But this part of my life, right there with my children, because I decided I had enough. I'm never gonna feel like this again. And I did everything I could to get out of that dark room. In that part with my children, like I said, I'm not sad. I'm not laying on a couch when I have them. I'm being a dad, a real dad,
Yep.
you know? And that's what you guys with children listening is ignore the comments from the ex. If you're trying to be civil and they're not, I know it's not easy, but don't engage. Don't. Don't, and I'm not saying just let things happen either, but do not engage. Don't scream. I used to be the guy in the middle of the fucking. I didn't with the mall because I was so triggered in the mall, screaming, looking like an idiot, letting it get to me constantly. And it just, don't let them live rent free in your head, screwing
100%,
up your
man.
day and your weeks. You have to try your best. You can't just shut it off. I get it, but try your best to distance while working on yourself
Well, the best thing with that,
to
sorry to
be
cut you
that
off
best.
there. I was just saying the best thing to do is to set your boundaries, right?
No,
That's
go
what's
ahead.
gonna really help you. You know, if the say your partner that or you're not your partner, but your ex or whatever is calling you and giving you a hard time, whatever, tell her you don't wanna talk, and if she keeps on going, be like, "Listen, I don't wanna talk, and I'm gonna let you go," and hang up the phone. Put it on silent, leave it alone until she cools down, because usually cool heads prevail, right? If she's yelling at you, it's just gonna spark you up to make it start yelling at her, and it's just gonna explode. So, take that step back,
Yeah,
set your boundaries, let everything cool down, and then work on whatever you have to at that point in time. But like Joey says, just, you know, don't give in to that shit. Set your boundaries, and don't let them walk over you.
yeah. Like I said, it is so hard when they know
Yeah,
because you dated them. You were in a relationship with them. They know your triggers. They know how to get you
yeah,
going. But remember, you're not with them anymore. So who cares what they say? If you know that you're a good dad and you're a good person and they want to take shots at you, let them. Ignore it. Hang up the phone. Because my once I started to realize and stop doing that, man, my life was
mhm,
just so much better, and that built more self confidence and more self esteem to where you can build those boundaries, like Eric was just saying, and having those boundaries, like, no, I'm not putting up with this shit. Sorry, click
yep,
and leave it. But it's definitely it's not an easy battle. But for you guys listening, man, we truly hope that you know you do reach out if you're
mhm,
in that space and try to find the
yep,
help that you need, whether it's a counselor, a psychiatrist, us, somebody, and start there.
Well,
It's only up to you to make those changes, otherwise
we have the
nothing's gonna
resources
change.
too, brother. You know what I mean? So if you guys don't have the resources, let us know. We'll help you out, you know. And if we don't have them, we'll find them. You know, we'll guide you in the right direction, and we will help you. I mean, I'll fucking call you every day if I have to. I've called people before, you know, to make sure that they're doing okay and helping them. I have no problem. I don't care. I have
100%.
no fuck. I don't give a shit. I'm fine with taking time out of my day to call people and making sure they're okay. I have no problem doing that.
And
You know? Oh, you're included,
myself as
brother. We're
well.
together on this.
You know, and if you
When I say me, I mean us. Sorry, we're this is us.
Oh, of course.
But uh, uh,
You know, that being said, if you guys do wanna reach out and you really you don't have to use your real names, we get it. You might feel a little embarrassed, that's okay. Is reach out to us, rawmindspodcast@gmail.com.
mhm,
We answer every message, every email. Like you heard the email that we I read it earlier tonight. And man, again, to the person who wrote that, if you think that we're helping you, you just
mhm.
helped us. So
Thank you.
thank you as well.
Appreciate you.
So don't be afraid, you guys listening. Reach out, please. If you got nobody to talk to, we will get up at any time of the night to talk to you. If you don't think you're going to make it another day,
Mhm.
you call us, you message us. But please give it another day. It's one day at a time.
That's all it
Just
is.
get through
Baby
today.
steps.
But on that note, Eric, it's I think it's that
Yeah,
time,
buddy.
and I'm so happy and grateful that this is how we're
Me
starting the
too,
new
brother.
year. And like I said earlier, man, 52 weeks, man. We got a full house. We we we
You know what?
doing it, man. We doing it,
I'm
and we ain't
excited
going
for the
nowhere.
next episode. Actually, the 12th one here. I think it's gonna be a gooder. So you know, I think that one's gonna be really good. So if you get a chance, listen to episode 12 when it comes out. We're gonna touch on some stuff, and we'll start the next week with a hard one, definitely. Um, Joey's been picking at me here to finally open up on my journey I've had in the last 7 months now. So I think it's time to open that up. So I think I mean we got so much great shit coming up, man. We have so much great shit coming up. You know, may even have that counselor come on too. I mean, it's gonna be a great year, brother. This is us. This is 2024 is the year of raw minds, man. You know, we're gonna we're
One
gonna
million
shed
percent.
a lot of tears and crack a lot of smiles and hopefully change a lot of lives. Here, I got a little
That's the
saying I
mission.
want to say. You are the universe having a short experience as a human. It's true, man. You know, if you really think of it, it's true. You are the universe having a short experience as a human. Let that sink in a little bit.
Well, on that note, guys, thank you as always for tuning in. Like we just said, man, this is gonna be the year, and we ain't going nowhere. Uh, from me, I just want to say thank you, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And again, feel free, please reach out to us if you have no one to talk to. That's what we're here for. If you can't find good people, be good people.
And I just want to say thank you again to all the listeners. We love and appreciate everything. We love the comments on TikTok. We love all that shit. We see all the messages. We reply to everything. It means a lot to us. Um, so want to put out there if you guys want to come on and be vulnerable and share some stuff. I mean, feel free to reach out. Don't have to use your real name. You don't even have to be on camera. We can just keep you off camera if you want to just do your voice. That's okay too. But I mean, help us be the change. Help us break the stigma of this shit and help us just push this agenda out there that it's okay to not be okay and it's okay to talk about this shit. So on that note too, from my end and Raw Minds on 2024, we're excited. We're happy that you guys are part of our family and we got lots more to come. So on that note, be good or be good at it. Bye.